Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Diana as patient, and I am pretty ill. Today, I am going to cover a few questions that have popped up on my email and the forum and through Inspire and all over the place. In fact, this is getting to be somewhat of an issue that I'm going to try to deal with because I have done or worked on emails 12 hours today, 12 hours yesterday. I still have about 78 more to go, and they still keep coming in, which is wonderful. You know, I love that. And I love that people are reaching out, and how can I not want to help? I do want to help, absolutely. I am, however, getting over my head, so to speak, on some of this. So I'm going to be smart about this and use technology more. I think I'm going to start like a podcast and try to answer some questions, and obviously still have videos because I love to look at your eyes, if you will. But you know the times when you think, oh my heavens, I don't think I can take a shower today. Well, I have a few of those myself, and I thought I could probably crank out a lot more questions, answers, if I don't have to actually, like, you know, really get dressed, so to speak. So we'll probably try that too, and share more information that way. Speaking of which, sharing information, I will be speaking next week in Canada and British Columbia. I'm so excited at the National CCSVI Society meeting. Join me if you can, September 10th. We start September 9th with all the doctors meeting. We're going to kick around ideas, and we've all got them, and put some pieces of the puzzle together, I think. And then the doctors will meet again next day, and then patients will come, and it's going to be extraordinary. So I so look forward to that. I am honored to be there. I cannot tell you. This is a question I wanted to answer for everybody because, again, this is one that kind of pops up periodically, and nobody's questions are really that short. Because we are so special. So you kind of see what I mean. Anyway, this is from Jay. I'll just say Jay. I don't know if people want their name out there. But let's see, we talked about disclaimers, which you guys know I can't treat over the internet and that sort of thing. Okay, I did talk to my doctor today, and I don't have to take the aspirin and the Plavix, so I'll stop the aspirin. This brought up a good point. If you are taking the Diamox, of course, you don't want to take that long-term with aspirin. Important to know. This headache, the one that starts during the night, that is at the back of my head and tops of my shoulders and neck, oh boy do I know that, is killing me, and I keep taking Excedrin with aspirin. Ahoy. Yeah, he also, the doctor had me stop the lisinopril that he had me taking at night. Wow, that made a big difference with me. I tried lisinopril twice at nighttime, and even the next day, my POTS was so much worse. That also just happens to be a drug that a small number of us develop severe angioedema with, especially if we have mast cell disease. So heads up on lisinopril, okay? Let's see. He suggested I make some baking soda capsules to help keep me from getting too acidic. Yay, okay. This patient is taking Diamox, gonna avoid the aspirin. And it is true, once we become too acidic, if our CO2 goes below 22 or so, it basically stops working, more or less. So we do the same thing. We make little homemade baking soda capsules at home. You can buy the little empty capsules at the drugstore, like 100 for $3 or something. And that keeps us just alkaline enough that continues to work. So I love her, doctor. Now, can the Diamox cause insomnia? It seems the nights I get the headache during the night, I also can't sleep, but about an hour or two after taking the Diamox. That's interesting. You know, we all have sleep disorders, which I know, and until we can get that dose of Diamox about right, which I fiddled with mine for, it had to be close to a year, I got to tell you, before I found, yeah, this is probably about right most of the time. That sometimes, yes, I did have trouble sleeping. Either the pressure was too much or not enough or whatever. But I just fiddled with it, and eventually it kind of settled in. Keep in mind that our pressure, the fluid pressure inside of our head, changes every hour of every day. So we're using a drug that takes off a certain amount of pressure, if you will, but it's a static, or it doesn't change. It continues to take off the same amount. Whereas our body's production of fluid is dynamic and it changes, and our ability to drain is dynamic and changes and depends a lot on our position and a multitude of other things. So we're trying to use a static medication to fix a dynamic problem, hence the kind of fiddling that we have to do with our dosage. Let's see. Okay, so she backed off on her Diamox 125, which I heard from her, she's doing great now with that. So 125 milligrams at night worked well for her. She is on Zantac, and because Zyrtec made me so groggy, Claritin double doses. My doctor is all for mast cell meds. It's just one step at a time. First the Diamox so we can get it fine-tuned, then probably we'll add Gastrocrom to the mast cell side of things. Absolutely. I gotta tell you, Claritin did not do a thing for me. I'd be curious how you guys are doing with that, but it didn't do a thing. Didn't touch my symptoms at all. But when I added Gastrocrom, it took weeks, but after weeks, yeah, big difference. So, and that is about inert of a drug as you can get. I highly recommend going to that. Now, he's also concerned about getting my adrenals stable. Oh boy, join the club, honey. I mean, I think all of us deal with that endocrinology gone wild, as I like to call it. I think some of it is from the hydrocephalus, the pressure on our brains. Mine continues to go up and down to some degree. I had to get on steroids for a while, but was able to go off of them after I was on Diamox for a while, but it still is something we have to look at. Let's see, he's thinking about putting on a steroid, imagine that. Let's see, she posted several places on the forum yesterday, but have not heard anything back. I'm so sorry. Yeah, guys, we've been fiddling too with our spam filter. I guess you've noticed we've had some issues. So still, I am not happy with it. We're changing it one more time. I think this will do it. But it's kind of messed things up a little bit, and I spent more time trying to fix that and addressing questions. But she said it does look like she has left ventricular diastolic dysfunction. Interesting. And she emailed some MRI pics of her brain. And yes, it did look like she had a little bit too much pressure on the top, so that was cool. Do adult head sizes tell you anything, or is it only baby head sizes? Great question. Babies only. Like, I have a small head, compared to my peers, if you will, but my head grew very quickly the first 15 months. I started with a micro head, if you can kind of imagine that. I think if we did a huge clinical trial on the sizes of our heads, we probably would notice that we tend to have, as a general trend, larger heads as adults, but it would take a huge number of patients. Whereas if we look at studies where we're dealing with just the rapid growth initially before the sutures of the skull close, it's very easy to pick out that we have the mild external communicating hydrocephalus. Very easy. Okay, let's try to squeeze in one more. Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Diana as patient, and turn on my mic. Okay, I'm sorry. Try it again. Tacky shorts. Okay, get serious.